do Oregon, Notre Dame, and now Tennessee have in common? We'll get to it in just a couple minutes. Welcome to the Third Saturday in October podcast, your SEC water cooler podcast for the rest of us. Find us online at thirdsaturdayinoctober.com, at TSIO pod on the socials, X, Instagram, and on Venmo if you want to support us. You can also support us by going to buymeacoffee.com/TSIO pod. I am Bradley. I am decked out in orange as I should be. I pretty much am every day. Because we're on the doorsteps of college football season, Jared. How are you?
I am well, and as a person that tries to somewhat pay attention to Tennessee football, even though I'm not on the fan level that you are, I am excited that your school has a starting quarterback.
Yes. If you have been living under a rock, and definitely not the rock up in Knoxville that
Mhm.
gets painted,
Not the Rocky Top.
no, there is a rock that gets painted every couple days with a new mural. I wonder how big that rock was when it actually got started. And there's just so many layers of paint that it's grown. Um, but Joey Aguilar has been named the starter, which does not come as much of a surprise. You bring in a transfer quarterback, uh, like Aguilar to start. Um, but the question was, can he grasp the offense in the short amount of time that he has, having transferred after spring practice? That whole saga is well documented by you, me, and everybody else that covers college sports. Um, but I'm excited because now that conversation's over. Unless Joey just goes out there and lays an egg, that conversation's over, and now we can focus on the games. Um, let's go. That's all
Joey
I'm gonna
would
say.
have been a Big Ten starting quarterback, and did Tennessee have? Is Tennessee having to take the strategy of, hey, let's not have the most complex playbook for Joey to just get in there and be Joey. That could be the case.
Well,
Uh, I don't
Tennessee's
know.
playbook is really not that complex. What it is
Mhm.
they just have their wide receivers split out so wide that are the safeties playing middle of the field? Um, are, are they wanting to blitz a corner because it's kind of hard to when you got them way out there, and because your nickel corner on your slot receiver is still a lot further out than most other teams. It's really about spreading out the defense so those little pockets are a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
Now, you can really only run your routes inside, but there's there's a trade-off, and you know more what the defense is going to do. So I don't know how complex Tennessee's offense has really been. Um, I mean, they always add wrinkles, but uh, going into the first couple games, you're probably going to see more vanilla offense anyways, because you don't want to give too much away before week 3 against Georgia.
correct.
So, even in the best of circumstances, with the most experience, with a 4-year starter at quarterback, I don't know that it's going to be all that complex week 1 and week 2, anyways.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't have exactly a cupcake in week one.
No,
It should be a winnable game, but it's not a gimme. So I think that's a good test for Joey. And obviously, I'm rooting for the Vols to just show the ACC how the big boys do it. So,
I've got two trivia questions that I love to bring up and have been bringing up, with friends at the office
okay.
since, um, I guess since baseball season ended and started focusing on football season. Uh, when was the last time Tennessee opened the season against Syracuse? And who was Syracuse's starting quarterback?
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have any guesses. I have no idea.
Uh, the year would be 1998.
Okay.
Tennessee won a nail biter over,
Wasn't that Tennessee's national championship year?
it was, won a
Ah,
nail biter over Donovan McNabb's Syracuse
ha, ha, ha.
to
Okay.
start a run of 13 and 0 that won them the national championship in the
Well,
first ever BCS national championship game,
yes.
the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl.
Fiesta Bowl.
Um,
Yep.
may the
And this
BCS
was
rest in
what
peace.
this was like the year after Peyton Manning or the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had just graduated. And it's like, okay, Tennessee's
Hmm.
going to be in a rebuilding year. And I want to say that Peyton had somewhere between 3,800 and 4,200 passing yards. And I believe T. Martin had 2,400.
Okay,
Um,
so here's an interesting fact. I actually went to a Tennessee game that year. That season, that 1998 season, and the game that I went to was the one that this podcast is so prestigiously named after. It was the yeah, the third Saturday in October. I went to that game. Tennessee and Alabama. That's the only Tennessee Alabama game I've ever gone to. So
I'm trying to remember if I don't think I've been to a Tennessee Alabama game.
that's the only
Um,
one I've gone to. And it was a big deal. And there were a lot of trash talking in the stands. And it was in Alabama. So uh, yeah, I remember that was it got a little heated there.
oh, I bet. I bet.
It was
Well,
like, oh, now I'm a Auburn fan and was even back then, but I wasn't gonna miss free tickets with a buddy to go to Alabama, Tennessee, and I went, and yeah, it was an experience. It was a good game. So
yeah. Just about any game that year would have been awesome to see. Um, I'd that was back in my watching football on the radio
yes,
because watching football on the
there is
radio.
no shame in that. By the way,
No,
I let the record reflect that I've done that with basketball this past
yeah,
season. So
basketball is very easy to do that, especially with
mhm.
the weekday games. But
Oh,
no, just working most weekends on some sort of project. Uh, generally, it meant you just turned on the radio, get a long extension cord and a radio that you could turn up loud, a boom box.
hey, yeah, you had to blast that. Yep,
That
especially if you were doing a project.
Yeah,
So
that there were no earbuds. Work would stop um, when you thought a big play was coming up and that sort of thing. But
hey, listen up, listen up.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
they're in the red zone. Yep, I remember
so
that.
so speaking of radio, uh, you listen to radio, you get all the headlines, and that's what we're gonna hit here because a couple stories coming out of fall camp, something that was announced pretty recently about Auburn. You're no longer going to be able to wear the number two because Cam Newton's number two is going to be retired at Auburn University. I,
Yes.
how do you feel? Like, what was your first
Uh,
reaction when you heard that?
well deserved. I mean, there's I've watched a lot of college football, and there's been players that have come along here and there that have just been so dynamic and so awesome that they made their teams almost impossible to beat, and that's certainly the definition of Cam Newton at Auburn. I mean, he was only there 1 year, and Auburn won a national championship, which they never do. So that was fantastic. And I remember that season vividly, and he was everything hyped up and more that we could have wanted. The guy was just a stud,
Yeah,
and had a blast watching him. We have a player, fantastic 5-star quarterback that's a freshman this season named Deuce Knight, and I was wondering, will he get to wear number two? Now we know he won't. I would have been okay with him wearing number two, but he's going to have to just find another number.
Yeah.
That's okay. But yeah, Cam Newton, fantastic player, and had a lot of fun watching him that one season. But his road started at the University of Florida, and I guess had some trouble there, and then he went to JUCO, went that route, and then we were able to sign him out of junior college. And this was pre NIL, so could there have been some under the table negotiations going on? Many think there were. If that's the case, I don't know, but he did come to Auburn, and man, that was quite the year. So that was a fun time for Auburn. Just like you're reminiscing 1998, just thinking back to Cam Newton playing at Auburn, it was like, oh man, I wish we could go back to that.
I
So
I know it was that was a special season to watch.
it was fun. Yep.
I mean,
Uh,
it an SEC team winning the national championship because think back to LSU just a couple years ago. I mean, that was
Burrow.
one of the
Yeah.
best offensive teams
Yeah.
ever to
It
hit the
felt like
college
that.
gridiron.
That's what it felt like. I know Burrow and Cam Newton are not the same type of player, but man, Burrow made that team so much better with
Yeah,
LSU, and so that was absolutely Cam Newton in Auburn. I mean, he was the guy, and yeah. So, and I really enjoyed watching LSU that season. That was fun. So
yeah,
it's always fun when you see those types of players break out, even if they aren't your school.
yeah.
Um, like Johnny Manziel never won a championship, but watching him play those first two seasons, the guy was just like you didn't want to play against him
No,
because he was really good.
and
So
I I
yeah.
remember being on the road with one
Mhm.
Chris Murphy,
Yeah.
and we had listened to the Tennessee game earlier in the day, and then Johnny Manziel and Texas A&M were taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide that evening.
Yeah.
And
From my memory, he gave Alabama a rough go.
I,
So
I don't know that I've ever seen Chris as disappointed as he was that night as we finished up work. Um,
yeah. Well, you and
he
I love Chris, but that's one of my favorite things is to see a disappointed Chris Murphy when
uh
when
he
Alabama doesn't quite, you know,
yeah,
finish the job, so to speak.
he's just
So
like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
that is
And
Chris Murphy.
and
That's me after sadly a lot of Auburn games the last several years. So
I've been there
mhm.
quite a bit as well. But I have um I love watching clips because I don't know that I watched the whole show. Fourth and One with Cam Newton. Um, but I love some of the tidbits that come across my YouTube feed. Um, so I think that's well deserved.
Absolutely, yeah.
Being
I think Cam's an entertaining guy. He's actually pretty. He makes some good points. I still like Cam Newton.
Yeah, he's very much an entertainer.
Yeah,
And he can back up a lot of what he brings to the table. I mean, he knows he will speak frankly about college athletics. He'll speak frankly about the NFL. And I think it's refreshing to hear because we get so much of the coach speak, not just from coaches, but from players as well. And he's like, I'm gonna lay it all out here. But I think it's well deserved to have his number retired down on the plains. Um,
yeah.
and
That'll be fun to see. There's also yeah, I don't mean to jump ahead of you here, but I
no,
know Auburn has discussed honoring Bo Jackson at the Iron Bowl this season,
ooh,
and
that
I'm kind of excited for that too. Bo knows Bo's Heisman winner, as you know, and
yeah,
outstanding player from Auburn history and fantastic in the NFL as well. He's a cheat code. And if you ever played Nintendo and played, I forget the name of that game now, but
yeah,
what was it? It was like Tecmo Bowl, Super
yeah,
Tecmo Bowl. If you had the Raiders and you had Bo Jackson, you were going to likely win that game because, yeah, nobody could stop Bo. So,
right.
yeah.
Um, one heck of an athlete.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, multi-sport athlete. Not many of those.
yeah, some of his highlights from baseball are just
You could argue that he was as fun to watch in baseball as he was in football. So
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. There
Mm.
are few players who've been able to do what Bo did. Um, uh, in well, so let's stick to running backs. And let's go to the other side of the Iron Bowl. Um, Bama running back Jam Miller, um, is in a bit of a jam. Will miss at least the first game, their opener against Florida State with an injury, which um, I don't know what to expect of Alabama this year. I don't know what DeBoer's second year is going to yield because you don't have Jalen Milrow, who seemingly carried that team last year. Um, who's going to step up this year? Chris may be disappointed a bit more this season. I don't know, even though some people still think pretty highly of Alabama.
I know they got a couple of, I believe, sophomore running backs. I mean, Alabama's like Georgia, they reload constantly with the recruiting, top recruiting classes almost every year. So while it's a bit of a relief for non-Alabama fans to see Jim Miller might not be starting, now you got to play the next guy who's potentially just as good. So
Yeah,
they are a factory, and don't count them out. Are you going to see them lose to schools like Vanderbilt this year? Man, I wouldn't bet on it. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder, and they're going to be ready to play Alabama football. So I'm grateful Auburn doesn't have to play them until the end of the season. As they have to play them, but hopefully we can figure it out. It's at Jordan Hare this year, so I'm always optimistic, but it's hard to beat Alabama.
yeah.
So
Well, and Josh Pate does have Jordan Hare as one of his top eight, I believe. I know it's in the top 10 hardest places to play in college football.
I think
Um,
that's true. Now, this last several seasons, Auburn's been down, but Jordan Hare is still a tough place to play. And I
well,
mean,
and
Texas
that's
A&M was a good example of that last season. They came in, should have won that game, and Auburn beat them. And
yeah.
Texas A&M was potentially an SEC championship team, and they lost at Auburn. So um,
Well,
it's
and
it's
that's
hard to it's
something.
hard to win there.
Yeah,
So
that's something that Josh Pate kind of took into account is, there's some recency bias because he was going through this exercise after EA Sports released their um I guess top 20, top 25 hardest places to play, and um he said that there's some big issues. And basically he had a bunch of SEC teams near the top. Um but uh but yeah, he definitely gave Auburn a bump saying they were underrepresented. Um and I mean, I love watching that video because he takes Tennessee from outside the top 10. He I think EA Sports ranked them number 12 and said, "No, that is the hardest place to play." And something that he brought up is when you play Tennessee, what do you do all week? You blare Rocky Top through the speakers. But he said that there's nothing that can replicate playing Tennessee in a close game in the fourth quarter and Tennessee score to go ahead late in the fourth quarter and just hearing Rocky Top 100,000 strong. Like it's deafening, and it's a morale killer is what he was getting
I
at.
believe that. Yeah,
And
100%. We've seen that play out, since you've had a little bit better coaching the last
yeah,
few seasons. So
yeah. But that was I was glad to see Auburn get get the respect that they deserve as
If
well.
if Tennessee had played Ohio State at Tennessee last playoff, would do you think that would have had any difference in that game?
Absolutely. Because
Hmm.
um I mean Ohio Tennessee fans would not have let Ohio State fans take over the stadium as much as Tennessee did at Ohio State. Um, from what I understand, and what I recall, I think it was 60-40, maybe 70-30, in favor of Ohio State, but there was a lot of orange in that stadium. I mean, Ohio State had kind of given up, and um, I think Tennessee would have come out a little more on fire being at home, because the atmosphere would have been a little more electric in Tennessee's favor. Um, I, but you never know. I mean,
Yeah.
Ohio State got up, and Dylan Sampson was hurt, not able to play much and not able to play well. But I mean, a bandsaw was turned on that day, and Ohio State just ran through the playoffs, um, and just ripped everybody up. Um, so it may not have mattered, but I do think that um, an atmosphere like Neyland Stadium in December. I mean, the weather, I don't think weather's that much of an issue because at that time of year, Knoxville's getting pretty cold too. Um, they're up in the mountains. Um, you're going to see snow. So I don't think weather was an issue. I think it was just Tennessee got a bad draw. I
Yeah.
think that's it.
I want to briefly mention Vanderbilt. How do you feel about Vanderbilt going into 2025? They got Diego back,
Yeah.
Pavia's back. Obviously, they were a bowl team last year. Had some nice upset victories. I'm curious to see hear your opinion. I mean, you're right there in Nashville. Maybe you have
Yeah.
one, maybe you don't.
Um,
Their schedule, of course, is not easy. They have some tough teams. They have a lot of tough teams,
yeah.
actually.
So instead of hosting Alabama and Texas, you now have to travel to Alabama and Texas.
Yeah,
Um,
that's not going to be easy.
and
And they play Tennessee at Tennessee.
yeah, I don't think um and I mentioned Alabama and Texas because they beat Alabama and they had Texas on the ropes. They were one possession away from beating Texas. Um, I I mean I don't see a big upset like that. Could it happen? Could Vanderbilt get a win against Tennessee? Possibly. Um, because that's late in the season. Um, we'll see how that kind of shakes out.
God forbid. Yeah.
I remember where I was fall of uh uh fall of 2005, um shedding a tear when Vanderbilt beat Tennessee for the first time in a long time. Try not to remember those
That's
days.
yeah.
But alas. Um I do want to hit I had one other kind of around the SEC headline, and then Jared, if you've got anything, but DJ Lagway practicing again after straining a calf, I believe, while running last month. So it's good news for Florida fans, bad news for anybody like me that just hates Florida. But DJ Lagway practicing in a non-contact jersey, but practicing nonetheless, um,
Yeah.
getting in some work with his teammates is good for Gator fans everywhere.
It is. He is a difference maker. He's potentially one of the best quarterbacks they've had in a decade ish. So yeah, Florida needs DJ Lagway to have the season that they would like to have. Um, it's not going to be easy because we've seen their schedule. We already know it's brutal. They're at Miami, they're at LSU. Um, later in the season they're at Ole Miss. They've got some tough games. They're bringing Texas into town. They're bringing Tennessee and Georgia. Well, they played Georgia and Jacksonville, but
That's a
but
home game for Florida.
yeah, well, I think those two, and Josh Pate said this, they should have a home and home. I don't know why they play that in Jacksonville. They should just play that on their campuses, in my opinion. I think that'd
Yeah,
make that game even more fun. Not that it isn't fun, it is fun, but it's definitely like you saw Texas and Texas A&M play each other, or even Auburn and Alabama. You should see Georgia and Florida play each other, at home. So
well, and Kirby mentions that um, Georgia basically gets cheated out of a home game because of it every other year. Because when they're the home team, that counts as a home game, and
well,
that
then he's got a good argument. I usually am not going to side with Kirby,
right.
but in this case, I will because I think that's a reasonable thing to say.
In
I
in
really
his
why I'll
perspective,
have to research that. I don't know why they insist on keeping that game in Jacksonville. Just let them play home and
yeah,
home.
I know it's not a Georgia thing because um
Yeah, it's not even in Georgia,
yeah,
so
it's
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 not
like a
exactly
six,
like Jacksonville's a midway point. Jacksonville's way closer to Gainesville,
right?
so
And I believe it's like 5 or 6 hours from Athens. It's
I
not
mean it's doable, but it's not like close. It's not like
right.
super close.
And
Yeah.
it's how far from Gainesville?
Oh, maybe an hour and a half,
Yeah.
maybe. It's not far.
So so when Georgia has a home game, one, it's not the ideal place to host recruits because you don't get to take them on campus. And that's Kirby's big thing is I want my home games so I can get recruits on campus. Um, and you can't do that. But if you're not a Georgia fan, it's like I'm okay with them losing a home game. And Georgia, especially as of late, has had more of these kickoff games where um, it's at a neutral site as well. And I mean, that's kind of good for recruiting because I know Nick Saban liked playing in Dallas because, hey, I want to invite all the Texas recruits to come see my team play in Jerry World. Um,
Yeah, heck yeah.
and
Show off.
yeah, um, so getting to go somewhere else. And so when Georgia's had these kickoff games in Atlanta, it does that doesn't help them really from a recruiting standpoint. Um, so I get Kirby's point, but the Tennessee fan in me is like, who cares?
Who cares?
So yeah.
Well said. Yep.
Um, but I mean, those are just a few of the headlines kind of coming out of um fall camp getting transitioned over into now classes are starting and um as a reminder for uh those who were not college athletes um and do not think about all this stuff all that often before classes start there's really no limits on how much interaction you can have with your players for fall camp. Once classes start, you're capped at 20 hours a week. Um, so now you do have to quote unquote go to class. Um, you do have to quote unquote study, and you can't be in the football facilities all the time. Um, So I know Tennessee is going through kind of a mock game week. It's, hey, if we were playing on Saturday, here's what our week would look like just to kind of get into that routine already. Because they have a little bit different routine for the rest of fall camp. But um, the paint is starting to go on the fields. They're cutting the grass. Like it is getting really close to kickoff.
Man, that's gonna be fun,
Yeah.
dude. Oh, I'm getting excited just looking at this stuff. I'm just like, whoa, it's coming. It's
Yeah.
ready.
Um, one last thing that I wanted to bring up as far as headlines. I mean, I guess it's kind of a headline, but more details now. Oregon is a school known for their Nike contract.
Correct. Yep.
Notre Dame is known for their Under Armour contract. I mean, these schools are known for more than that, but they they are the flagship schools for Nike and Under Armour, respectively. Tennessee, according to Adidas, is now the flagship school um, for their athletic apparel. And
Well,
what
based
I,
on that nice little check that Tennessee's getting from Adidas, I think Tennessee fans should embrace Adidas, even if it's not the brand they want.
yeah,
I mean,
th-
that little extra money, and it's not little actually.
yeah,
It makes a big difference. So
there are a couple things that interest me about this. Maybe not interest me, intrigue me. Um,
fair enough.
Up to 20 million a year, half of that in cash, half of that in apparel. I'm guessing meaning what they're just going to give athletes and coaches. Um, I I don't know a whole lot about what that means. Um, but then up to 10 million just in straight cash, homie. Um, to do whatever you want, and it doesn't have to be revenue shared. It's somehow it's just kind of icing on the cake. Um, Tennessee gets to design the uniforms and kind of keep control. What I haven't been able to get an answer about, not that I can actually call somebody and ask, but trying to figure out, does that mean the uniforms that they have with Nike currently, does Tennessee own those? Because I mean, there's not a whole lot that you can change to the football uniforms, but there were tweaks to the basketball uniforms. There was a lot done to softball and baseball uniforms. Softball had some great Summit blues that I really enjoyed. Uh, so all these other sports had a little bit like really revamped their uniforms. Can Adidas use those styles? I don't know, but I know Tennessee is going to design uniforms going forward. One thing they said is so that they're not surprised by color schemes and this, that, and that. And I'm thinking it's not like Adidas is just going to show up on Saturday morning before the third Saturday in October and say, "Hey, here's your uniforms. They're pink." I mean, this stuff is so. Let me back up. The new deal takes effect July 1st, 2026. Apparently, like all the old Nike apparel just has to be getting rid of. So apparently, thrift stores up in Knoxville are expecting a plethora of donations. Um, I may have to go up to Knoxville in July and just camp out. My my aunt-in-law and uncle-in-law um are up in Knoxville quite a bit. I may just have to say, "Hey, pick me up a few things. I'll Venmo you." Um, but so some of this is really interesting. Also, they're signing UT players to NIL deals.
Hmm.
So Nike uses a lot of, and Under Armour as well, use a lot of professional athletes. Adidas is trying to focus more on college athletics. And so a lot of Tennessee athletes are going to be national spokespeople for Adidas. So there's going to be on top of this 20 million, a lot of NIL deals, and there's Adidas has some sort of network. I don't know how it works, but there's going to be a lot of NIL money, and so it's going to be interesting to see how this works because before it's well, I'm at least gonna get cool gear from Nike, and now it's okay, it's Adidas, but I'm going to get a whole lot more money
Hmm.
because I'm going to be able to sign up for this NIL deal through the partnership between Tennessee and Adidas. Um, so I mean, I guess it's a good thing for the school, so I should be happy about it, but
Oh, I'm not suggesting that. You don't have to be happy.
I'm nervous about what the uniforms will look like. I haven't loved every uniform that Nike has come out with in the last 12 years, but for the most part, I've been very happy with it. The smoky grays, a whole lot better than what Adidas came up with. Um, the the black uniforms I thought were slick. The orange helmets, I want to. Who do I have to convince to do an orange helmet on black uniforms? I think it, and you do it against South Carolina around um, Halloween because that's generally who we play around Halloween. Uh, um, though now it's just kind of a free for all. But
Yes.
a, a home game right before Halloween, come out in orange helmets and black uniforms. I'm all for it.
Yes.
Um, just lean into it. I mean,
Amen. Yep.
but yeah, so the deal is done. Tennessee will be an Adidas school um, in less than 11 months, about 10 months and 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't think it's as awful as it sounds. So,
Um, I mean, start hitting the drafting board now. Let's see what you got because I do remember Butch Jones era, the Nike contract, and then walking out. It's like football uniforms. Okay, fine. There's not a whole lot you can change with those. I think they did unveil smoky gray at that point, which I really liked. But when they got to um, the smaller sports, the baseballs and softballs and other sports that they were showcasing, it's like, okay, these are some awesome uniforms. So I'm interested to see if they do kind of a pomp and circumstance like that. I know that was streamed and I was watching it um, on the live stream, but Tennessee's now in the ranks of Oregon and Notre Dame as flagship schools for their respective apparel brands.
correct. And I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
I think it's gonna be just fine.
yeah.
That's I'm not always right, but I think it will be. So
I think it'll be fine, but I want it to be more than, in the words of Switchfoot, I want it to be more than fine, more than simply getting by,
well said.
more than
That's
just
funny.
okay.
More than
Um,
more than okay.
I'm
I yeah. Why wouldn't it be though? I mean, I don't know.
go
It
back
matters,
and
but it kind of doesn't. It's a lot of money. You got to take it. I get it. I don't
yeah.
know.
Uh, in kind of the comments were both from Danny White and Josh Heupel. We wanted to partner with a brand that took our school as seriously as we do. That's a paraphrase,
Well, it
but
sounds like that is the fit.
yeah,
That's what it sounds like.
because for reference, I want to say that Nike's deal is like between 4 and 6 million a year, and so you're jumping up to between 17 and 20 million a year. The details of the deal are not. public knowledge. Um, Apparently, to release it would give other schools a competitive advantage. Um, I don't really know what all that means, but it's like the Coke formula, Coca-Cola formula. It's secret, and they don't want anybody to get it. So fine.
Yep, that's
Oh,
that's what it is.
but um, I don't know if you can smell that, but it's almost time for football season.
I'm smelling it within reason, and yeah, man, if you're not getting pumped up, uh, I'm concerned. So
And if you're not pumped yet, you can start with uh uh Remember the Titans. You can
yes,
follow it up with Any Given Saturday, which I believe I am starting tonight.
yeah, you
Uh,
must, you
yeah,
must.
um, because it's time.
Yeah,
Um,
this is the right thing to do, and you won't regret it. It's an excellent. I thought they did a really good job. So
yeah. It's now the era of Joey Aguilar. Is it Gunnar Stockton at Georgia? Um, why am I blanking? Arch
you got you,
Manning
you got
at
Jackson
Texas.
Arnold at
You
Auburn. Yeah,
you've got some new QBs coming in, and we're gonna see what they do in the SEC this year. Um,
we will. We shall.
yeah, I know Ohio State just named their starter. I can't tell you who it is, but they just named their starter for the kickoff against Texas, and I'm going to be very interested in what this game looks like. How does Arch look with all this hype leading up to it? How does Ohio State reload? We'll see. Um,
Yeah, this is going to be a fun season, no doubt. And
Absolutely.
obviously, we're rooting for our teams and hope to see them do well. Uh, but man, regardless of the outcomes, college football is welcome, and I am excited to see it. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Um, if you want to get in on the action,
and
you
they
can
should.
email us
Yep,
podcast at thirdsaturdayinoctober.com. Find us online, thirdsaturdayinoctober.com, at TSIO pod on Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. It's so hard. I know it's been X for years now. I, it's Twitter. It will always be Twitter. It's still, I mean, we still call them tweets.
we do. I do.
I mean,
Yep.
I'm not just sending all my exes out there. That,
Well, yeah, they live in Texas, according to George Strait. So,
I did sing that as I drove away from Baylor the last time as a
well, that
not
that at least in that
intro.
moment in your life, that might have been true. I don't know.
Um,
I don't know
not
if you had
not
any
all
like
my
middle school
exes.
exes that's still
Uh,
in Tennessee, but
Yeah,
yeah.
my most recent exes lived in Texas at that point. Um,
Yes.
yes. So find us at TSIO Pod there. Also on Venmo and buymeacoffee.com/TSIO pod. That is how you support us, as well as sharing this with a college football friend. Share this show with a friend. Um, join join the lounge. Join the water cooler, I guess.
Yeah, come
Talk
on down.
football with it. I can taste it just like Les Miles.
Yes.
I can taste the grass. Uh,
we don't want you to be eating literal grass. Although Les Miles did that, and I always thought that was a little bit weird. So,
he was a little bit weird, but
where's he at now? Do we know? Is he even allowed in college football? I know there was some
no,
controversy. So,
there were some issues.
yeah, there were some issues. I recall.
Um, uh, your friend and mine, in the collective sense, Will Redmond, worked for
Yes.
Les Miles, and I have not had an opportunity to ask him about working under Les Miles, but I think that would be
I know this is an
That would have been fantastic.
unrealistic ask, and it's probably not likely. But if you were ever able to get him as a guest on this show, I think that would be a fun episode.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
It
I
may be
doubt he
tough
would
during
say
football
yes.
season.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be doing it during football season.
Um,
That could be a fun podcast though during baseball season.
yes.
So
Because
food for thought.
he loves everything Auburn. Um, from
Well,
childhood, which is pretty cool. He is heavily invested.
Auburn is grateful to have him, and there are some potential flips. Some are saying Auburn could become Spatula U with some of the flips that could be happening this season. We'll
Well,
see. We'll see what happens.
in
So
in in uh in no way is Will Redmond not a part of that. So
no, he's certainly a part of that. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's exciting. It's fun. So
Yeah, I'm so excited for Auburn and everything that they've got going on since Will got there.
yeah,
So
totally.
I'll have to work on that. That is my homework as classes get started. And
Fair enough.
before the bell rings, I gotta say, heroes come in all sizes and roll Vols.
War Eagle, Bradley. Thank you, sir.
Tailgate, man cave, living room, pregame, burgers, ribs, chicken wings, chip and dip, pregame, scotch and